Welcome to On the Fly, the show that covers fishing here in Connecticut and surrounding areas. I'm your host, Lee Smith. Tonight, my guest is Don LaChance, Program Lead for Veterans Healing on the Fly. Don, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Would you mind telling us a little bit about Veterans Healing on the Fly and maybe some of the history of the program as well?
So Vets Healing on the Fly is a spin-off of a national program. Originally in 2012, we started as Project Healing Waters. And over a period of time, our needs and theirs didn't really match. So July 15th of last year, we decided to spin off and go independent.
Great.
So we're better able to focus on the needs of our vets, what we need for them, what they need from us, as opposed to a program that may have people in hospital setting, where some of the things that they do just don't apply to us. And it's not a cookie. It's more of a we don't want the cookie cutter thing. We
Gotcha.
want something that's tailored.
So this really allows you to tailor the programs to the needs of our vets individually, if
Yes.
you will. That's fantastic. One of the questions I always like to ask when I do shows like this is, how did you become involved? How did you get involved in this?
I was a scout leader, Boy Scout leader, for 30 years, and now I look at it that I'm dealing with grown-up scouts. But when I retired from work, I found I had an opportunity, and the gentleman that was running it at the time was getting on in years, and he said he needed somebody to help him and eventually take it over, which I did. So I've been running the program that we have here in Connecticut for the last 8 years.
That's fantastic. That's a great contribution. Tell me a little bit about what the organization looks like today.
So right now we have a total of about 45 vets and about 38 volunteers. Pretty much it's one-on-one, and you're not specifically assigned a vet or you're not assigned a volunteer. It mixes, so it develops camaraderie within the group. Mm-hmm. We find that some of our people have a lack of experience, and the volunteers in some cases have a lot more. And we may marry them up with some of the new vets that are coming into the program. Mm-hmm. But conversely, we have a lot of volunteers that are coming in with little or no experience, and we're marrying those up with some of the vets that have really developed. And then we change it up a little bit so that if we're going from fly tying to casting or whatever it may be, mm-hmm. We have people that are stronger in some suits than others.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it sounds like good cross-pollination there between the vets and the volunteers.
Yeah.
That's great. Talk to me a little bit about some of your major events during the year.
Well, even as we speak, we have a group of 6 vets and 3 volunteers up in Deer Spring Lodge in Merrill, New York, population mm-hmm. 156. Very small little town.
Sure.
So we actually rent out a lodge for the 3 nights, and we send them up there. And these are usually the newest vets that we have. Okay. And we'll send them up with 3 very experienced volunteers, and they'll get to spend a couple of days on the Chattagay River, right on the Canadian border. Mm-hmm. They get some real one-on-one instruction, and as a matter of fact, they got a great report back. They're catching fish like you wouldn't believe.
It's the best trip to have.
And two of the guys and 1 gal have all caught their first fish on a fly while they were up there.
Right.
So it's pretty exciting. But that's one of them. We have a trip scheduled to go out to the Delaware River. Mm-hmm. We're going to do 2 nights. 1 day is a float, and 1 day we're going to wade. And we'll have 6 vets and 3 volunteers on that one. And then in the fall, we have a trip scheduled up to Manchester, Vermont, which is the home of Orvis. Mm-hmm. So we've made arrangements. Orvis is going to give our group, the 6 vets and 3 vols, a private lesson for the morning. And then after that, we're going to head over and see them build fly rods in their factory. And then the next day and a half we'll spend on the water fishing up there.
That's fantastic. Will they get to use the rods they built?
Well, they won't be billing. They're all bringing their own. But,
Oh, okay. All right. I heard you mention the Delaware, which is New York. Obviously, I heard you mention Vermont. What about for the parts of the program that are within the state of Connecticut, if you will?
we go all over the state, and for the most part, everything we do is private water.
Okay.
Now, we go to Riverton, the Farmington River, but we happen to use, we call it Zach's Pool. There's a gentleman that owns the property. It's right on the water, and manicured lawn, everything else. It's private riverfront, and we do a barbecue up there, and we just had it. We had a total of 35 people up there. So they go up, we do our barbecue, they'll get out on the water, they have a great time. So we went to Riverton. We go up to Litchfield. In Litchfield, we go to a private pond owned by, we call it Doc's Pond. And we go there, and that's warm water fishing. So we go for bass and perch and so forth. And that's another one that's real big. We typically have about 30 to 35 people. It's a huge pond. It's 20 plus acres. And you can walk 3/4 of the way around it, and they actually will go out and cut the grass right down to the water and make it real hospitable for us. We go to East Hartford. There's a pond in the back, not the one you could see from Cabela's, but there's one back in the woods there called the P&F Pond, or Police and Firemen's Pond. It's private. It's owned by that group. Warm water. We go in there on first Thursday in July. And we'll go in and fish that. We'll go in early morning and have another barbecue. But we also go to places like Washington, Connecticut. We'll fish the Chepaug River. You've guided there a couple of times. We've gone saltwater down in Milford.
Okay.
We've tried that. We've gone to Killingworth, Chatham Hollow State Park. And then across the street from there is in Killingworth also, is something called Forster Pond. It's what they call a private state park. It's not open to the general public. It's there more for an educational. That is a 28-acre pond. And what they do is teachers will bring a class down there, teach them about, biology and all kinds of things. But they have some canoes, so we got invited to go in there, and we'll have 6 canoes. The guys we use some guys with float tubes, kayaks, and we've even put a drift boat on there to fish all corners of the pond. So we pretty much go all over the state. It's not just one spot.
Right.
So since we're the only program in the state, we have people that come from Norwich. We have people that come from Newtown. We had a gentleman from the northwest corner. He's moved since, but so they come from all over the state.
That's fantastic. And I heard you say you had quite a few people, and I know that it probably varies, but typically, what's an average outing look like from like number of vets, number of volunteers type thing?
So there's 2 different types. One is where we have plenty of room, and such as the one up in Riverton or the P&F Pond or Docks, where anybody that wants to can go. But there are others like the Chepaug, where it's kind of closed waters. It's a little more technical, and we try to tailor it to people that have the physical ability to wade. So in a case like that, we would have 6 vets, sometimes 8, will go on that water. The club that sponsors us, the Washington Rod and Gun Club, will provide a couple guides. We provide a couple. And, when we go to a place like Chatfield Hollow, we kind of cap it at about 15 vets and about 15 vols. We try to keep it pretty much one-on-one, so that no matter what, it's always 2 people together.
Good deal. Okay, great. Let's switch gears and talk about the vets for a minute. Tell me a little bit about the actual vets themselves. Kind of what are their backgrounds, and what attracts them and brings them to Vets Healing on the Fly? Up until last week, I could tell you that we had vets from the Korean War all the way up to very recent Middle East conflicts.
a lot from Vietnam. We lost one. He was 93 years old, still active with us, and the last time he went to Limestone, he caught the biggest fish.
Wow.
And everybody got mad at him and told him he couldn't fish anymore.
Okay.
But for the most part, we have them from all branches of the military. We have none that are active military, but we do allow them in as long as they have a disability rating.
Okay.
They come to us with a variety of disabilities. They don't necessarily have to disclose them. Some do, some don't. And we have some that have problems with PTSD. We have some that have mobility issues. We have some that, just are very introverted and just don't want to share, don't want to be with anyone. And over a period of time, they do come out of their shell, which is nice to see, especially when you get, one-on-one.
Sure.
There's been a lot of studies that have been done about the effect of outdoor activities, outdoor, recreation, and its impact on the vets with disabilities, PTSD. There was a study done, it was called the Blue Mind Effect, and there was a biologist, Wallace Nichols, who did something, and he did a ton of study on it. He did his thesis on it, and he spent years doing it, and it says, water creates what scientists call a soft fascination. It holds, I won't read a lot, but it holds our attention gently. It provides novelty, the constant movement, and interrupts the hypervigilance that is sometimes common in PTSD.
Gotcha.
So with that, being outdoors, feeling the water on your legs, casting, letting everything else go, just watching for that hit, they have to focus enough on that so that they can't think about what was bothering them. We have a couple vets that have a palsy shake, and you can watch them as they tie flies. And when they start off, they are shaking. But as they tie the flies, the shake will go away, wow, even if for a short period of time. Sure. But it shows you the impact of the overall sport, whether it's wrapping guides on a fly rod.
Sure. Sounds very therapeutic for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's wonderful. That's great. Let me ask you, when you get a first-timer out there, and they go with you on an outing or event for a day or something like that, what is some of the feedback that you usually get from those first-timers as far as, what they enjoyed, how it was versus what they expected, and so forth?
Well, there's a lot of worry before they go. I'll get phone calls and emails and texts. What do I bring? What do I need? But taking somebody that's been fly fishing before is one thing. Taking somebody who's never held a fly rod in their hand is different. But what's nice is, and we had it happen this year when we were at Zach's pool in Riverton, we had a couple brand new guys come in. Well, he's got a lawn there, and we have a volunteer that he's getting on in years. He can't walk, he can't wade, but he can stand there and he can teach how to cast. So he would spend some time with them. That's great. And when they got a casting stroke that seemed to work, then at that point, we get them down at the water and we'd have them casting off the shore. And some of them actually graduated into the water, others didn't. But it's that type of a process. But the other thing that we found, and the vets are surprised by, is the structure. I guess I have a high attention to detail, but before any event, they know that their arrival time, when they're going to get paired up, what time lunch is, what time lunch ends, and then when they can fish until, what they need to bring, what they don't need to bring. And if they don't have it, we can provide anything.
Good deal. So if a vet is interested in joining you for an outing or event, I'm not hearing that there are any real requirements that you need before.
The only requirements that we have is that I'd like them to understand that we're not a fishing club.
Okay.
And prior to, typically you'll see contact information on me later, but in our organization. But typically I like to talk to them to get their ideas to what they think it is, and then I explain to them what it actually is. And in some cases they say, no, I just wanted to go fishing.
Okay.
Okay, and in other cases they say, wow, that's what you do, that's amazing, I'd like to try that, but I don't have anything, or I don't do anything, and how much does it cost? But there's no cost to the vets.
Okay.
There is zero cost to the vets.
Excellent. Okay. And so it sounds like there's no real, aside from the conversations, there's no real additional information needed from
No,
them.
I don't ask them about their disabilities. Some decide they want to tell me. Others don't. But I ask them if they have a disability rating, and that's all I ask
That's a
them.
single question. That's
Yeah.
which is fair. Number of events, because I heard you told me quite a number of events there.
Yeah.
Is there any limit on the number of events that any one vet can attend?
It's based on, there's some events there's no limit of the number.
Okay.
It doesn't matter how many vets attend, but others are all based on how technical it is, how much room we have at that particular venue, what activities are required. Somebody with a walker could have a problem going down a stream bank to get in the water.
Right.
So it's not for him. What we do also is if we make a determination for the Chippewa River that we're going to have room for 8 vets and three vols, we'll have slots. And if you have an interest, you just shoot me a note and let me know, and we add you to the list. And sometimes we get more than that. But we also, because the vets are dealing with some challenges, we have people that drop out 24 hours before, 6 hours before, and we have a will call list. And I would say 95% of the time, anybody that wants to go on a trip, we can get them on it.
Great. Yeah, that's fantastic. And if I heard you earlier as well, if they're in our audience today watching this program and they don't have experience or they don't have equipment, that's not the issue. You're going to have folks there that are going to teach them how to cast, and whatever equipment that is needed is provided.
One of the things that we've done, started doing a few years back, and it seemed to work very well, is as anglers age out and they can no longer use their gear, we accept used gear.
Okay.
And we'll take that used gear and we'll go through it and we will put it aside. We'll use it with the vets that are coming in. In some cases, if we get duplicates or have too much, we'll tag sale it and fund ourselves, because we're a 501c3 that's self-funded. So one way or another, we got to pay the bills, and that's part of it. But we can provide whatever they need. When they come in to tie flies, when they walk in, right in front of them, they're going to find a fly tying vise. They're going to find all the tools, all the materials, a set of directions, and prior to them even showing up, we're going to give them a video link so they can watch how to do it.
Okay.
So they can watch it and say, I can't do that, but I'm going to go anyways. And when they go in, we go step by step, and they're working with somebody that's experienced, and every one of them end up tying.
Yeah. And what's for your tying events, what might be an average attendance for one of those?
Typically 25 to 30 people.
So it's well attended. I mean, you get a lot of people that are interested. And would you say walking through the door, what percentage would you say probably haven't tied a fly before they came in?
All of them at one point, but on a typical day, we usually have 2 or 3 that are new. And some come in, and for whatever reason, they decide they don't want to tie, and that's okay, because they come in, they'll have coffee, they'll sit down, they'll talk, and it just gives them a chance to talk to people that are going through what they're going through.
Okay. And is the tying held at one specific place, or is that also
We've
on a
been meeting
rotation?
at the American Legion in Newington.
Okay.
They were gracious enough to give me a key to the building, and they said as long as it's not rented, which is weekends mostly,
Sure.
it's yours.
That's fantastic. That's great. Wonderful. Let's switch gears and talk about the volunteers for a minute. So you're right. I've guided on a few of your outings, and I can speak firsthand to seeing that healing nature of those trips and the therapeutic nature of it. And I'll tell you, there's nothing like watching a vet catch his or her first fly, first fish on a fly, if you will. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
the last time I joined you, the gentleman there, he told me that the rainbow that he caught that day, that was his first rainbow ever.
Yep.
So it's very good, and you're right. I see firsthand there's a camaraderie, if you will, between the vets and the volunteers and the guides and everything else, and it really makes for, a fun day and a fun outing. And I think again, speaks to your preparation, your leadership of the organization, and it is very well run and very well organized as someone who's coming from someone who's participated in them before.
So we have 38 volunteers. And just because you're a volunteer does not mean that you have to go to every event. Lee, you go to one, sometimes two events every year. But we need that because we need people that are willing to be there. I'm short a vet, I'm short a vol. I got to be able to find one more. I need 3 more guys for next weekend, and typically people will come out of the woodwork that not that active, but stay active. Mm-hmm. We send out a weekly newsletter, a weekly update, and we try to keep everybody informed as to how many slots are, what we're looking for. But some of the vols, they don't fly fish, they don't tie flies, mm-hmm. they do other things. And so everything's important.
Mm-hmm. Good. Excellent. If someone is interested in volunteering, and we will, put your contact information up in a few minutes, what do you say you're looking for in a volunteer, and what do you tell the volunteer to expect when they come to one of your events?
So what I tell them that I'm looking for is the ability to mix well with people, to let the vets do the talking, to lead the conversation, and then expand on that conversation. They can ask questions, but they don't necessarily, I don't want them to direct the vet into a conversation. It could make them feel uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Lee, I understand you served in Iraq. What was it like? That type. Mm-hmm. We don't want to go there. Lee says to me, I served overseas, and let me tell you about it. And we have some guys that want to share that.
Yeah.
And so we have to but they need to understand that beforehand. It's also about the vet. It's not about the vol. So when we get to the water, yes, they both usually have a rod, but, we'll get that vet fishing. We'll let him fish. And then we'll say, let me show you something with how you can cast and get a longer drift. And then you cast. And then you show it. And then you catch a fish, and he laughs at you, you stole his fish. I mean, there's all these things that happen. Yeah. But there is a real bond between some of the guys. We have one vet that comes every year, and he always wants to be with a certain vol. He only comes once or twice a year, but he wants to be with a particular vol that he's built up a camaraderie with. That vet goes to a lot of different others, but that vol only comes twice a year. That's what I meant to say.
Gotcha. Yeah. That shows how strong the bonds are.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. I know that organizations like Veterans Healings on the Fly and others rely on funding, for these great programs and much needed programs as well. How is Vets Healing on the Fly funded?
I have to go back in time and say that with Project Healing Waters, they used to do a lot of fundraising and a lot of efforts. And we were always given a budget, but the budget was never available to us. So we decided, what they were directing for overall policies for how we handle the vets, mm-hmm. and the finances, we felt we'd be better on our own. So we made a concerted effort when we broke with the national organization. We went out and tried all kinds of things to fundraise. We have, and I mentioned the estates and people who cycled out of angling. We take those in. We use that as a fundraiser. We do 2 tag sales a year. We pick up some money. We do a pint night at a brewery, and we pick up some funds there. Some of our vets have become very proficient rod builders, and some of them get extremely creative and proficient. And what they end up doing is they'll build a rod, and then Farmington Valley Trout Unlimited has an annual banquet, and we'll auction off the rods. We do that. We will auction off flies. We do look for donors, you know, and I'm not bashful about it. This year it's going to cost us $13,000 for 45 bets. That's about $300 a bet, a little less than that. And we're going to make it through this year. We're going to make it through next year, you know. So it's an ongoing process, and that'll develop over time. But
and understand, it's great. Sounds like you're really on top of it, though, that you're being very proactive about the
we are.
piece. Now, I believe right now we've got up your cover slide, which has both the donation amount, and you were getting to my next question, which is it has your contact info. So if I've got this correct, whether it be a vet, whether it be a volunteer, you're the person they reach out to. Is that correct?
There's a couple of ways you can do it. On that slide, it shows vetshealingonthefly.org. If you go on there, there's a place that you can contact us, and my response time is actually usually within 24 hours. That's one thing. My phone number happens to be on that card. Feel free to call me. Feel free to text me. I leave my phone on 24/7. I get calls in the middle of the night from the vets sometimes. I have no problem talking to anybody.
Good deal.
There are 2 QR codes that are up on the screen right now. One of the QR codes will get you right to talking to us about getting more information, what your interests might be, and the other is if you'd like to help support us. And by helping support us, if it's funds, that's great. If it's gear or something else, just send something in on the contact, more information.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Don, thanks again for coming in this evening and spending time with us. Before we sign off, is there anything else that we should know about Vets Healing on the Fly?
We're one and done. We're going to cater to the vets that need us here in Connecticut. We're not looking to branch out, but we are looking to cover the whole state. So any vet with a disability, and if one wants to commute from Rhode Island, come on down.
Excellent. Thank you. Good deal. That's
right.
Wonderful. Shows the inclusive nature. That's
all right.
So I'd like to thank Don LaChance for giving us an overview of Veterans on Healing on the Fly. I'd like to thank our crew for making us look good, and thank you for watching On the Fly. Hope to see you on the water.